Good evening and welcome to Movie Watch Live. We're back after a break of 3 weeks. We're back, and this time we're looking at comedy fantasy. We're going to have a nice laugh tonight. We're going to relax, chilled out, and we're just going to enjoy probably a very, very well-known comedy fantasy movie, Jabberwocky, which comes from 3/8 of the Monty Python team, directed by Terry Gilliam, starring Michael Palin and Terry Jones. And with me tonight is Carl Hungus and Aldous Huxley. Good evening, Carl.
Hey, Pete, how are you this evening? Thanks for having me on again, and I am looking forward to another episode of Movie Watch Live. Here we are again, doing what we do, either best or worst, depending upon how you look at it, and that is analyzing the movies we love.
Absolutely. Well, each week we're getting less and less boomerish, so eventually we'll have filtered out all the boomerism. But for now, we're going to have a look at this movie, and I've got it on DVD, and Carl's got it ready, and Aldous is here as well, but he'll be joining us when he can. So a quick intro about this movie. It comes from the 1970s. It was done just after Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's often compared to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but it's very different. It's supposed to be a real narrative, a real story in its own right, but it is definitely a comedy. And hopefully everybody's ready to start with their movie. So what I'll do, as usual, is I'll give a 3-second countdown, and after I've gone 3, 2, 1, I'll say go, and when I say go, you can start your movie at that point. So if everybody's ready.
All right, so Pete, real quick before you start, mine is a bootleg version on YouTube. So would you let me know when your screen is done with the production company's logo and all that stuff, and goes to a black screen and it begins to turn to the green leaf?
Absolutely,
because that's where ours starts if you're watching the bootleg version on YouTube.
That's fine. I mean, mine starts with the sunrise,
right,
and then it moves to the sort of nature scene. So I'll let you know where I am at that point, and obviously I'll give everybody a timestamp as well. So yours starts at the nature
black
scene?
Screen. It starts right when it's black.
Okay, so fine. That's fine. So I'll start mine going now. So that's 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm at the sunrise, and I've now got the little nature scene there. And this is the poem by Lewis Carroll. Is that where you're at now?
No, it's right after that when the movie actually begins.
Okay, so I'm seeing the guy with the hat. Are you at that point yet?
Yeah.
So this is Terry Jones, and this is an intentional joke. This is a medieval baseball cap that he's wearing with a bag of animals on his back.
It's Terry Jones.
Yeah.
I enjoy Terry Jones. He's one of my favorite of the Pythons. I think he's super underrated. And he was good in Eric the Red.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing the bit where the monster's stalking him now, and he's grabbing the fox out of the cage. Have you got that, yeah?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. This is the quality on this is so terrible.
Yeah. So he's just got a sack of animals on his back there.
Yeah.
The fox is eating the other animals.
Oh, yeah, it is Terry Jones. He just got his hat knocked off.
I think the hat is fantastic. I've got to get that hat.
Yeah.
Medieval baseball cap. So yeah, the thing about this movie is it's properly a structured narrative. Mm-hmm. It's a real story, whereas Holy Grail was just like a sketch-to-sketch thing, very much like the Monty Python show itself.
Yeah, it's a series of vignettes, and there we get the title screen right there.
Yeah,
and that's Terry Gilliam's art, right?
Yeah.
So he did all the art for the Monty Python's Flying Circus.
He did, yeah. He
And
was the animator. And here we go. This is Terry Jones now getting eaten alive by the Jabberwocky. This was this is done with a cherry picker. They grabbed him up with a cherry picker.
is that what they did?
And oh, that's gonna hurt in the morning. And that's, people were really offended by seeing this corpse, but on the left here, it's sort of comic relief because the animals are still eating each other in the back.
Right.
And here's the prologue.
Title screen.
Yep. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, great. Mine is in Italian. So what's that say?
So basically, it's talking about. It was the beginning of the middle of the Dark Ages, darker than anyone ever expected. And the monster was creating terror behind the walls, but before the walls of the great city.
Uh-huh.
But in the woods, in isolated pockets, still untouched by the ravages of the monster, life and business goes on as usual.
Here we are in the village.
Yeah. This is the Coopers. This is a real man of art, a craftsman.
The dying
There's Michael Palin, Dennis. Stock taking, father. It never helps, never stops the accurate after the minute stock taking of your stock. So Dennis is, as usual, Monty Python. They always put a modern man in a historical setting, so he's out of place.
Right.
He's a very boring, mediocre, middle management kind of person.
Right.
In a fairy tale land, basically. So this is the idea behind the movie. This is Mr. Fishfinger.
Mr. Fishfinger. Yeah.
Yep. Who's the local merchant, and played by quite a famous actor in Britain at the time, Warren Mitchell, who did a lot of other things at the time. I think Warren Mitchell's daughter or son is married to Cherie Blair, who was Tony Blair's wife.
What else?
Sorry, daughter. Sorry. What I mean is, he's related to Cherie Blair somehow. I don't know.
Okay.
Niece or something. I can't remember. But there's jokes about teeth all the way through. Can you see they deliberately blacked everybody's teeth for this movie?
Yeah.
And Mr. Fishwinger has just mentioned that somebody saw the monster, turned his teeth snow white overnight. Because one of the things Terry Gilliam was trying to make fun of was like, he wanted to deliberately upset the American audience by having everybody having really horrible teeth. Basically,
so he was trolling the American audience.
Yeah, he was with the bad.
What is that all about?
I think it was
Terry Gilliam is an American, so I guess so.
It was because all the previous historical movies, everybody had perfect teeth, and they wouldn't have had really awful teeth. So
now he's rowing a boat somewhere.
Yeah. So I'm at coming up to 6 minutes now. But yeah, the Dennis is like a used car salesman. He's like a middleman,
Right.
He's in the middle of nowhere. His dreams are really sort of boring and banal. He just wants to exist as a stock taker, a middleman.
Yeah, no ambition. Just doesn't want to cause any problems. Just wants to go with the flow.
And this is Griselda, his love. Are you at that point now?
Oh yeah.
And Griselda,
scratching her ass,
played by Annette Badland, who's a really good character actor, but there you go. Roger's just taken away there. So once again, Dennis is just heartfelt love for the wrong woman, really.
Right. Seems like he has makes bad choices
He
in
just
life.
has the lowest ambitions of anyone. He's
He's definitely not war campaign material. He's very low
no,
T.
he's very low T. He's in the middle of this. He's essentially a 1970s. His dad's just died, and
Right.
it's just a fish finger. Hello, Dennis. Taking a number two.
Right.
There's a lot of Gilliam is like inspired by Bosch, Hieronymus Bosch, and Bruegel
Hmm. Hmm.
for the movie because the medieval times would have been like this. It would have been raw and not very nice, really.
Yeah, they're probably all way too attractive for a real medieval person. Griselda probably would have been a hottie back in the day.
That's a funny thing you should say that because there was a pre-screening in New York, and I think it was a film critic or somebody came out really, really angry at the end of the movie, saying they're all ugly. All the people in the movie are ugly. They're not real people. And it's like, well, hang on. That just shows that you've got used to like Hollywood, where everybody's
Yeah,
fakely
that's
beautiful. That's
like
people in
a
reality.
first
Most
world
people,
problem,
yeah.
right?
So this is the death scene of his father. Um, and the lighting on the scene is amazing. It's like a Caravaggio, it's
Hmm.
a beautiful
Look at the
scene.
colors they used to, like the
Yeah,
browns and that kind of
yeah,
off yellow.
it's
It does look like a Bruegel painting.
yeah,
Um, I don't know how the fuck you say that. He's from Brussels or something, right? I can't
yeah,
pronounce that guy.
it's
But
yeah,
but yeah, it's all dark and brown and kind of gritty,
yeah. I
like those
mean,
paintings. So yeah, totally. I see it. I see the
well,
influence.
and one of the things that really stands out about this film is that everybody's dirty most of the time. So
Also, with the exception of the medieval aesthetic, it's also very reminiscent of Rembrandt, how he uses shadows and browns and things like that.
yeah, Terry Gilliam is people forget how talented he is. He puts so much into his movies.
Well, let's face it, Terry Gilliam wasn't he like one of the main joke writers for them back in the day?
He was, yeah. Well, he did all the animations as well.
Right,
Um,
and there would be no Monty Python's Flying Circus without Terry Gilliam,
yeah, definitely.
and
This
he's
is
underrated because he's the only American.
this death scene here, where his father just expresses how much he hates his son. You stock taker.
Now he's going back for Griselda. Dennis Cooper. Holy crap!
I think your playback's probably faster than mine.
No, I just I because it's like I fucked up in the beginning, so it's all right.
Well, I'm still at the death scene.
All right, you tell
At
me when he
about
goes to her house.
Okay, so if you pause for now, I'll let you know when I'm back at him going back to see Griselda. So the dad just dies with everything, doesn't give him a penny. But this comes from a story. Apparently, Terry Gilliam knew someone who their father died, and on his deathbed, he just spent the whole time saying how much he hated his daughter, and then died.
Oh, I'm sure it happens fairly often.
Yeah. A lot of it was filmed on the back lot of Shepperton Studios as well,
No.
which it is all houses now. But there we go. So I've got him coming back to Griselda's house now,
All right, and I'll
and
unpause it a few seconds here.
all of the food noises,
Right,
eating noises coming from the. This is
there we
the
go.
this is the fabled potato going to be thrown out the window in a minute. Griselda. Have you got it in English yet?
I can hear it in English, but I'd rather hear what you're saying.
Okay.
So I have it turned down a bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read the subtitles. One of the subtitles that comes up sometimes is in Italian. One of the other ones that comes up sometimes is in German.
Yeah. Oh, the Germans love this film, actually. It's really popular over there. There you go. So he's got the sort of half-rotten potato, which rots and grows at the same time throughout the whole film, as a token of his undying love for the wrong woman.
He's in that castle now, right?
Oh, you're well ahead of me again.
Am I well ahead again?
I'm still at the lake where he's saying goodbye to Griselda.
He's in the dark in the castle. I don't know how the hell that happened.
The one you're watching's like being spliced into bits. Right, I've got the castle now. Yep. So
is he in the dark?
This is, I believe, because some of it's filmed in Wales. This is the one corridor that you're going to see over and over again because they didn't have much money during the movie. So this one corridor is used for every single corridor, but they just changed it.
Which castle filmed that?
Well, this corridor is filmed in the studio, but when you see the castle scenes, it's a castle in Wales. I forget which one, but
there's like Caernarvon, Bume.
I'll find out for you.
Don't worry about it. It's not big.
We're seeing John Le Mesurier there, and fantastic comedy actor. He playing Pazaway. There's Max Wall, and then his nappy.
Yep. Water on his ass.
Max Wall was a really famous British surrealist comedian. He was well known in Britain, and the thing about these two, the two of them developed this little routine on their own, where they sort of behave like man and wife type of thing. They call each other darling and all this kind of thing. Like a married couple. Now I'm up to the merchant scene now. Have you got that on the like sort of sedan?
Yeah, they're riding their car, all dressed up like Christopher Columbus and all that.
Yeah. Now apparently, like the Terry Gilliam made these props, got these props made, and didn't realize they're actually historically correct, and they were actually used in this exact way. And you can imagine this little sort of rivalry race that starts would actually happen in real life.
Now, those costumes are pretty authentic 16th century Tudor period gowns and robes and stuff. So I like it. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and without knowing, I mean, they tried their best, but apparently it's really authentic. Most of what they did in the movie. That's another one of the charming things about it.
Look at some portraits drawn by Hans Holbein. They look just like that.
Exactly. I think Terry put a lot of effort into making this look really authentic. The armory guards as well look brilliant.
What was
How are we doing, gentlemen?
Hey, how you doing all this? Wasn't Terry Gilliam an art student or something before he hooked up with these guys?
He was for quite a while before he became a Monty Python.
That's him right there, isn't it? Inside there? Cameo in his own movie?
I can't tell because there are parts in the movie. Hello, Aldous.
Hey, sir. Thanks for having me on again this week. Sorry for the slight delay there. It's been a day.
Yeah, it's all right. We're just.
What's our timestamp we're at here?
So we're just past 15 minutes.
Which version are you going to watch?
I am, of course, watching a completely legal version because to do anything otherwise would be wrong.
Well, if it's on YouTube, man, I can't help it if YouTube doesn't police their own shit. You want to know how good the version I'm watching is? It has 663 views, including mine, 0 likes, and 4 dislikes.
Yes, that would be the possible one that I might be watching.
Yeah, we're up to
leave something to be desired.
Yeah,
it's dubbed in 2 languages.
Yeah, we're up to the bit where the 3 merchants have just gone to see the king.
Yeah, the king just rolled in.
Yeah, it's probably been over a quarter of a century since I've seen this movie. I remember a potato
Yes.
I remember a monster. I remember a scene where apparently my father, who was watching it with me at the time, forgot that there was some nudity and quickly covered my eyes.
Yeah, that was the princess. The I'm at the. I think your versions are like a little bit faster than mine because I'm just getting to the bit where King Bruno, the questionable, it's just coming through the door now. Look at the dust everybody's covered in.
Who's playing the merchants? I can't tell. This version's so grainy, I can't see the faces very well.
Not anybody you would know. The only people you would know from there would, well, actually, you wouldn't know any of them in America. I don't think any three of those actors translated over to America. One of them was a sort of pseudo comedy actor, but of Grand Otto or the Bent Conqueror. Oh, free down the Is that what you're up to? You've got.
I've got him outside the city right now, the city gates.
Well, I've got the peasant just trying to appeal to the king now about the monster, and he's brought a petition.
The king's like about to sit in his throne. There, he just sat in his throne where I'm at.
Right, you'll have to pause because I'm way behind I think your recording's about double speed.
I love this. We take a couple of weeks off and we're right back to where we started at initially.
I think, yeah, you might have to adjust the speed of your playback because.
Can I do that? No, I'm set to speed normal.
Yeah.
Should I go 0.75?
Yeah, that might be it. Might be best.
All right, I'll try that, and you tell me when the king sits down.
Yeah,
I'm at
I'm
at 1638. Aldous, on
16.
what we're watching.
All right, yeah, I'm right behind you. So let me move. Yeah, I'm good.
Max.
So have you kind of discussed a little bit about where the term Jabberwocky comes from?
No, we haven't touched on any of that shit.
We didn't get into the origin and the poem very much. It's just we just sort of launched into it. Right, I'm getting to the point where the king's about to sit on the throne. The idea as well is that everything's really decrepit, and the king's like a bit of a silkworm. He's hugely fat, like a pile of old clothes, and inside he's like a little larva wearing a nappy. He's just sat on the throne.
All right. There we go. Oh yeah, now it sounds normal now.
Yeah, there we go. And I've got the outside of the castle.
Yeah.
Oh look!
What did you drop your speed to?
0.75.
Okay.
I've got Terry Gilliam outside the castle.
Yeah. He's a beggar or something.
Yeah, he's a crazy beggar who thinks that he's a rock is a diamond. This character was supposed to be played by Dudley Moore, right? But
yeah, that's when he was big in the late 70s.
Yeah, Dudley Moore basically backed out at the last minute, so Terry Gilliam had to step up and play the part.
So I'm hoping that armor they're wearing is not just studded leather armor like from Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm hoping that it is a brigandine.
It'll be a brigandine.
It looks like one.
By the way, I'm drinking.
The only thing that gives me sorry, Pete. The only thing that gives me pause about that being a brigandine is the irregular placement of the studs on the armor.
Yeah,
because there would be a pattern with if you had the plates in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's supposed to be representing a brigandine. What are you drinking, Pete?
It's Rubeos by Founders. So American raspberries in a fantastic ale from Founders Brewery in Michigan.
Oh, that's.
And I have to say, American raspberries are very, very perky. They're very, very, very nice, tangy flavor to them. But back to the movie.
Glad you like it. What about you, Aldous? What are you drinking?
I am. I'm polishing off the last of some swill beer from some guests that we had over, and later I'm hoping to get into. I've got a nice German lager.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
So,
we got to choke on this Canadian crap first.
This is the bit where Michael Palin did his first nudity scene ever. Let's have a look at your legs. He has to pull his trousers down. Now, in the medieval times, people didn't really wear underpants. So he's just got nothing on when he pulls his pants down. And the funny thing about this was they had to do these takes over and over again. And this is a famous castle in Wales. And there was coach loads of old ladies behind the scene here. And every time they redid it, apparently the old ladies got closer and closer. According to Michael Palin, anyway.
Well, that's not entirely accurate. They did have underwear. They had layers because you'd wear layers of clothes. They just didn't have it like we had. They had what they called brays. And these were tight-fitting breeches that you'd wear as your first layer under your trousers. And you'd have like a long shirt over that as well. And then they'd go down to your knees or whatnot, and then you'd have stockings up to your knees or leg wraps or something.
Yeah.
So it evolved over time.
Yeah, this that keep you saw there, that round keep, is the only round keep in Britain. You saw the way the camera panned down, where there was just like no flaws. Because the idea that the castle's falling apart, everything's gradually, what is it called? There's a word for that. Entropy.
Yeah, decay. Entropy.
So, and the king's taster there has just been asked to taste something in the soup, and he says, "Plaster, sir. 12th century." So, but yeah, I mean, the idea here is that the tiger's at the gate. The tiger's at the gate of the castle, and it's forcing everybody to the extreme. It's bringing the worst out of everybody. So
if this wasn't a comedy, it'd be grimdark. Because think about it like this: it's like 40K in that one of the underlying themes is the decay of splendor. This was once a wealthy kingdom, right? And now it's just decaying into decrepitude, and it's going to fall apart.
Exactly. This is it. And it's how long has the monster been out there, and how long has this been sort of going on for? This king as well. I mean, Max Wald does a great job of being the really decrepit old king. Here we go. Now this character here, the princess, played by Deborah Fallender, represents the most insane character in the whole movie. And she's lived her entire life inside, and she basically lives in a fairy tale world. She's a fairy tale princess, but Terry Gilliam's take on it is that she's just completely nuts. And we will be getting the full frontal nudity later on.
Maybe not.
The one thing I do remember about this, because I remember watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and then watching this, and as a young lad being very disappointed with how just banal this is for the most part. The humor is exceptionally dry, and it's mostly in the presentation more so than in the dialogue or the situational comedy that you're used to.
Yeah, it is. It's meant to be.
You almost get an impression that it's like it's Gilliam stepping away from that phase of his life and moving into something else, and almost not being sure how to do it. It's almost like a neophyte step into a new world.
Yeah, he wanted to get away from Python. He wanted to make it a narrative, like a satirical surrealist. This is the first time he's making the films that he went to make on later. Are you about to see the beautiful East Wing here? She doesn't quite manage the accent. She was an American actor. I don't know why they didn't just say, use your own accent. But you're quite right as well that however, this movie did influence a lot of other movies. Interestingly, it influenced Ridley Scott. There's the lovely West Tower just being destroyed there. That's where I've just got up to anyway. So you're seeing the castle crumbling before your eyes.
It's almost it's surreal to a degree to watch this. And I'm watching the castle crumble right now. But to watch this and how it's not, I don't recall it being a great film. I mean, like I said, I'm a film buff, and I've gone 25 years without seeing this, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it in my teenage years, and I was mesmerized by it. I had to keep watching, because it wasn't Monty Python, but it was at the same time. It was a different thing altogether. And the thing that struck me about it was like it really tries to, bring home the reality of medieval life.
Right, but the weird part about it is, I'm a Gilliam fan. I love his work, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen Time Bandits, Brazil, Fisher King, 12 Monkeys, Zero Theorem, which actually I've watched a couple of times on Amazon recently, and it's really good.
Yeah.
This just stands out as such a it's such a non-Gilliam film.
Yeah. Hail Johnny 5 in the chat.
Hail Johnny 5. Thanks for joining us.
Hail Johnny 5.
Well, this is the first movie Gilliam does that really marks his style for the rest of his career, in my opinion. But the comparison to other movies is that, for instance, you know how we started off with Excalibur? John Borman was a huge fan of this movie, and he made his cast and crew watch this 14 times before they started filming Excalibur to get them to understand the period. Same era as Star Wars and Jaws. There's quite a lot of connections with Star Wars, by the way, with this film. And you see this sort of scene here, the predatory scene, where we're seeing from the monster's point of view. As Dennis goes into the woods to get some food and firewood. Sorry, that's a parody of Jaws, because Jaws had just come out as well. So I'm in the scene where Dennis is gathering wood in the forest there, and the monster's stalking him.
He's still talking to these guys by the wall for us.
Yeah, there's a sense of the mantle of hero being thrust upon the character, and very unwillingly.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Right, you might have to speed up then, because I've got to the bit where he's said hello. Terry Gilliam's just...
You keep playing, Pete. We'll catch up, because we'll be faster than you. I think we're like...
Terry Gilliam's now trying to beat him to death with a rock, and just as he lifts his arm up to beat him a final time, the monster grabs him.
No, we're gathering wood right now.
Yeah. Well, I'll pause until you catch up.
Don't you dare, because we're going to catch up and we'll pass you eventually. This will be fun. We'll race to see who gets to the end.
And Gilliam has graced himself with the same death that Terry Jones had earlier. And Michael Palin comes running out of the woods.
Gilliam worked on Holy Grail with Jones, didn't he?
Yeah, so this was, Gilliam directed Holy Grail, Life of Brian, but this was Gilliam just wanting to get away from the strict sort of, scene by scene thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now I've got to the scene where Michael's just woken up, or Dennis, with fresh pittle on his face from the guards. This is another thing people hated about this. Oh, you can't show that in a movie. Well, that's exactly what would have happened. Fresh piss of the morning. And this guard coming out of the castle side door if you've had a number one, you need number two. So he's coming out for a crap. He's creeping out for a crap. Is actually the head construction guy. He was like the builder for the sets and everything. So they gave him a part in the movie.
That's cool.
So he's actually like the chief construction guy.
Yeah, we just got where he opened up that door and was walking up the stairs.
Yeah, this scene's brilliant where he walks into the city, because everybody's yet to wake up. So you're seeing the city for the first time before it actually comes to life, and all of the signs everywhere. This scene, everything in this movie is begged, borrowed, and stolen from other productions. And this scene was actually the backlot set for Oliver.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, the musical Oliver. This was still there on Shepperton's lot, so they used it for the city.
Wow. 11 years later.
Yep. So there's loads of stuff that he sort of nicked from other people all the way through.
That's one way to do it, save on your budget.
Yeah, he's really clever at the way, And there was a standard Monty Python joke there. There was no one there. As soon as the bloke goes, Russia! Suddenly, there's just, in a blink of an eye, he's surrounded by a crowd. You're about to meet the most famous character in the movie. After the monks go by, of course. This is the Sacred Order of Flagellants, Zealots, and Fanatics. And some of the faces are amazing. There's a guy here who was actually one of the most important poets of the 1960s. There's a guy there who loves being... Apparently, I had to redo the scene of the guy who gets crushed under the wheel. I had to do it 4 or 5 times.
Right.
The bloke eating spaghetti is actually the famous poet. And if you look carefully, the really nutty one with blood coming down, who's just grabbed him there, right, is an English actor who went on to play in Star Wars, played Admiral Piat.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see him now.
I forget his name now.
Yeah.
It'll come to me later. The flying hogfish. That's one of the best lines. And the guy on there, listen, this is line. A flying hogfish. I seen a gliding hogfish. Not actually flying though.
Right.
Yeah, I mean this movie inspired a lot of other stuff because of the use of lighting. Lighting, I meant. Like for instance, Alien was made just after this. Here we go. The guy with the foot cut off. Now,
right.
This is right in the center of a Bruegel triptych painting. There's a guy sitting right in the middle with a severed foot. And that was like an inspiration for Terry Gilliam to come up with this character. And this is the famous Wat Dabney, inventor of Wat Dabney, inventor of the inverted firkin.
Firkin.
This is like he's like the center of the story, Wat Dabney. Wat Dabney. That's brilliant.
A firkin's like a little jug or a barrel or something.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like a visionary Cooper.
Yeah.
Now he's showing you about the guild signs because they're talking about, how you have the unions. You've got to be a member of a union to work in this town. So they're just really trying to take the piss out of far left and far right politics in this movie. They're having a go at both sides of the equation. Like the merchants are like greedy, I suppose Thatcherite, sort of financial, traders,
like land speculators and just sleazy kind of businessmen. Gotcha.
Like Wall Street, like criminal Wall Street traders and things like that. Here comes the King's Crier,
right?
Who looks like something from Alice in Wonderland. He looks like
he does,
he's wearing a
really
gigantic playing card on his chest. And
the drummer behind him and the guy with the trumpet.
This is attention, please. Bruno, the Cristobal.
Princess's hand. We're ahead of you again.
Yeah, you are. You're about a minute ahead. This is a bit where he's checking with the other. It's like the joke as he's in the studio.
Right.
Yeah, that's racing ahead. You're.
Yeah, I slowed it back down.
So at the start where I said we're getting less boomerish every week.
Yes.
It's not true anymore.
We've just gone more boomerish.
Yeah. Right, he's just put the drum over his head.
Yep.
So here we go. Yeah.
He's playing the drum on his head now at this point. Oh, now we're at the jousting scene, so we're still
you're way ahead of me, yeah.
But you'll catch up, and it'll be fun. We'll try and get through it somehow.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Sierra Whiskey. Yep, absolutely. Turn the boomer up to level 11. Definitely.
Hey, we're trying to. Someone give Art Tiber a call. We need some tech support.
Oh yeah. It is, of course, the princess's hand.
Hail Sierra, thanks for joining us tonight. Anyways, no matter, even if this is a little boomerish and goofy.
Now, all of the crests for the Jousting Knights, I thought they were all sort of like satirical, but apparently they're all based on real designs.
Why not? I mean, you have an entire catalog literally sitting there of designs ready for you. You don't have to pay someone to design them, right?
Yeah,
so you just go through and figure out what the Earl of Oxford's personal sigil was in 1415, and there you got one.
Well, I love
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the concept of we've got a monster that's ravaging the land. So we're going to take all the great fighters, and they're all going to beat the living shit out of each other. And then whoever wins, him alone is going to take on the monster. We couldn't just send them all at the monster.
Yeah,
that would make no sense.
I think that's the point, though, right? Because
it's the absurdity of it.
Yeah, like if this was a real medieval kingdom, you bet your ass they would be armed up, and every squire within 100 miles of the king would be under arms,
I think
plus the peasant levy.
Yeah.
Plus the peasant levy and your bowman your yeoman.
So that's a question for you, Carl. What's the difference between a yeoman and like a bondi in like a Saxon term?
Okay, so what a yeoman is a peasant that owns his own land and has the rights to farm his own land. So anything other than that, it would be equivalent to like a 19th century sharecropper. And that's what your serf class would have been even below them, because what they would do, if I had 10 square miles of land, I couldn't do that all myself. So I'd rent out 90% of those parcels, farm my own land, and take the rents from the other ones.
Mm.
And so over time, this became your middle class as these people eventually got more wealthy. And eventually when you got to the point where you didn't have to work to earn your living, then you became gentry.
You can see the puppy dog crest yet.
No, I'm just watching pieces of armor fly through the air, slow motion.
The Black Knights just appeared. Now, another Star Wars connection. The person in the suit of armor who plays the Black Knight, and also the Salmon Knight, you might recognize the name David Prowse.
Wow.
Darth Vader. So the man who was Darth Vader is in the Black Knight suit of armor. I also like the way the puppy dog ears are flapping in the wind.
Yeah. Didn't Caesar meet David Prowse and say he was an asshole?
Well, yeah, he did, but I don't know. I've never met him myself. So, but it's Pembroke Castle in Wales.
Oh, nice.
It's the only castle in Britain that has a circular keep, apparently. But it's all of these people here are Welsh. Who this is before minimum wage. Everybody's on a complete pittance there. They must have been paid like $1 a day to appear in this movie.
Rats on a Stick. Are you past Rats on a Stick?
I'm at the bit where the Black Knight is just beaten the puppy dog knight.
Yeah, I'm
So
right behind you, Pete.
Wow, I'm right
I've
ahead
got
of
the
you.
rats now. Rats only,
Oh.
you palsy. Get him hot. Hey, oh, Sonny, go on there.
How much was a farthing? Wasn't that like 2 pence or something like that?
Yeah, not very much, basically. This bit here where the turnip drops off the basket is like a game of football or soccer. You hear the
crowd
cheers in the background. So it's like an anime. You know how Gilliam did the little animation routines during the show?
Right.
This is his real life version of an animation. So
Right.
Michael's running after this turnip, but it's like being kicked around. And he's just about to bump into somebody who in Britain is really famous.
All right, so per
Prince Andrew?
There we go.
Per my Google foo here, a farthing is 1/1000th of a pound sterling.
Yeah, in modern decimalization.
Essentially a quarter of a penny.
That's it, yeah.
Mm.
He's just bumped into the Squire, played by a very famous comedy actor in Britain at the time, Harry H. Corbett. Now, he was a really good actor. You won't have seen this, but if you ever get the chance to watch this, I recommend it. There was a comedy in the 1970s called Steptoe and Son, which is about... Have you seen it before?
That's what Sanford and Son is based on.
Yeah, right. And the catchphrase from that was, because he used to live with his dad, and his dad was old and decrepit and disgusting. And he was like trying to get out of this life and live a better life for himself. Right. And his catchphrase was, "You're dirty, old man. Oh, you're so dirty. Oh, you're disgusting." So it was just like the idea, he couldn't stand his life. So he plays the Squire in here. You also recognize a couple of other actors that you might have seen in the Aliens movies as well.
I love that sequence where he drops the potato, and then it's getting kicked around by the crowd.
Yeah,
that's it's a very subtle Pythonian style scene and sequence.
Have you got up to the bit where they're in the factory where they're servicing the knights, like their automobiles?
Yep, just arrived there.
Now there's a bit in here where there's a bloke putting rivets on a glove, right? Mm-hmm. And Dennis does this thing that he does all the time. Excuse me, I couldn't help noticing you could improve your efficiency if you put the screws over here. And it causes absolute chaos and the whole thing falls apart.
Yep, destroys the whole works.
So Dennis is like a middleman. He's a time in motion. He doesn't create anything. He doesn't produce anything. He's not a leader. He's just a middleman.
He doesn't. I'm trying to think of the line from the old. Was it a Chris Columbus movie with? Say anything. It's like I don't want to produce anything that's consumed or consume anything that's produced.
Yeah. So the whole thing's falling apart now. Little fact about Max Wall as well. During the film of this, he would sit at the bar of the hotel in Shepperton where they were filming, and he was a really good sort of storyteller and comedian. So he'd have a crowd of young women around him. Mm. And another thing that was happening as well was he was being followed around by Joan Lee. Mm-hmm. He was stalked by Joan Lee. Joan Lee was Stan Lee's daughter.
Oh, wow.
And she basically just followed him everywhere. By the way, I've got the scene in the inn where breasts. Have you got to that bit yet?
Yeah.
His wife.
Yes.
Plucking away there in the corner.
Yep.
You might notice there's a guy sitting in the corner of the inn who looks like some sort of like North African, very strange holy man who's like meditating. It's just, why is he there? I think Terry Gilliam put things in the movie just to see if people would notice them. So if you look, there's this sort of like Taiwergian or whatever the word was, his North African. See him sitting in the chair. It's just like mummified. He's doing nothing.
Let me see. I'm catching back up because you got back ahead of us. Oh yeah, I see him there. Yeah, he's strange.
Yeah, it's like, and he just sits there through the whole scene. And here you might have noticed again Bernard Breslow, who plays the Cyclops in Krull.
Oh yeah.
He's the innkeeper. So what happened?
Why does it always come back to Krull, Pete?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. But
is she getting less and less clothes on as the scene goes by?
Yeah, I think Terry Gilliam just basically went and took all of the comedy establishment of Britain at the time in the 70s and brought them all in to work in this film for a pittance. So the Squire's got obviously going to engineer trapping the innkeeper down below so he can have his way with his wife.
Yep, there he is. He just locked
there you go. He's grabbed the amply proportioned innkeeper's wife, and off he goes.
Off he goes.
With the chicken in hand. She was plucking a live chicken as well. There's loads of stuff in this movie you'd never get away with now, you know.
Yeah.
You'll see plenty more later on in the movie. Now, what happens is he lets the innkeeper out, and within an instant, the pub is just instantly busy. People just pour in through the door. So the innkeeper's busy trying to pour out all these ales. And then Dennis again starts saying, "Excuse me, I couldn't help noticing, but you could be far more efficient if you put the jug here."
What chaos will ensue?
And so the innkeeper Bernard Breslow ends up having a fight with. I'm not at it yet, but he will have a fight with Dennis, and they end up getting taken to the castle. That's where the stories start to get more intertwined.
Yeah.
So 42 minutes in, and we're just getting to the moment where the story is going to initiate. It's 42 minutes of exposition.
Yeah, and, that's right.
Because everything does go back to Krull. I would like to point out that this has been 42 minutes of fairly entertaining fare. So it's been done well.
Yeah, time spent for Ralph.
Think about this. The movie's half over.
We're
half a movie to make the story happen.
Ralph, we're at about 50 minutes, 50.
Yeah, I managed to get Ralph on Twitter was saying he hadn't seen it in a while either, so I managed to point him into a direction where he could get a copy.
That's great. He's just told the innkeeper that the squire's upstairs with his wife. Bernard's gone, "What?
Yeah.
Swine!"
Now he's thrashing him.
Yeah, I think I'm a little ahead because the guards just caught them both.
Yeah, I just got that.
He's dragging on his leg right now where I am. I think we're all at completely different points in this movie.
Oh, absolutely. We've lost it.
Welcome to Boomer Watch Live.
No, this is excellent. It puts us right back to where we were with the first movie Watch Live. We're starting off with a new series. We're right back to everybody's at different time points and referencing stuff that not everybody's even seen yet. This is beautiful. We are nothing but organized.
He's just about to punch him and get stopped by the guards.
The champion must be chosen. I'm going to slow my speed back down so you can catch up there, Pete.
Yeah, I think you're ahead again there.
Oh, yeah. The King's Herald is making a proclamation, or the King is making a proclamation.
Of course, a lot of these people who appear in this movie appeared in Time Bandits as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Now, it's also the idea of, like, when these things happen, people capitalize on them. So the merchants are making shit tons of money out of this. So they don't
Right.
want the monster killed.
Right.
People are running to the city, and they're raking it in. So this is very interesting because the royal herald keeps interrupting the king all the time. Hear the wisdom, witness the wit.
Right.
Observe the oratorical eloquence.
Now they're deciding what they're going to do, huh?
Have you got to the bit where the royal herald has been dealt with?
Yes.
Oh, you're ahead again.
I know. Maybe.
Stop, Hungus.
I don't know where I'm at.
You're like the eager
Honestly,
hound
but
on
the
the hunt.
copy I'm watching is so terrible. It's hard to say where I'm at.
Exactly. If you notice how there's subtitles in two languages. One of them is Italian, one's German or something.
Well, and even then, the subtitles don't line up at all with what's going on.
Right. And the little picture's so grainy you can't even see whose face you're. Oh yeah, now the herald's been dealt with. Yeah.
There's the. Yep, there we go.
Well,
okay,
you're still about 3 minutes ahead of me.
Summary execution with a bardiche, not fun.
Very, very well done though. With the almost like the stage hook from old vaudeville days, pulling him off with the hand, and then just the axe going up and down, and we keep on moving on.
The
and also very Alice in Wonderland with the off with their heads,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I'm now getting to the bit where they're just about to behead the herald. So that's where I am. And
I thought that's what you meant by dealt with him. All right, I'm going to slow back down.
Because now it looks like there's King's looking down the hall at the guards are beating somebody up.
He just kicked the head.
Right, I've just passed that now, and now there's a fight going on over on the left.
This is Bedlam. No one knows what's happening.
Right, here we go.
What's the guy scooping into that bucket over there? That I can't tell, is that a bucket or a barrel?
It should be a barrel, but I haven't got to that yet. These little bits that Max Wall does, are fantastic. The way he changes his voice slightly. Mm-hmm. We're Sherlock's king around here. He's just stepped over the herald's head. Max Wall, actually invented the silly walk long before Monty Python. He was like the original surrealist comedian. He was mostly a stage comedian. But if you ever get the chance to watch his act, I think there's rare stuff that you can watch on YouTube. He was a very intelligent man.
I'll check that out.
He was like long before Monty Python or Spike Milligan. He was like the first surrealist comedian. This scene where the dust comes out of the barrel, they only had one take at this, so they had to get it right.
Yeah, they got it everywhere, so they did something right.
They couldn't have done it again. I mean, there's no way they could have cleaned that up later on.
No way, you're right.
I don't know what was in that dust either. There's, like I say, all of this stuff. You couldn't do it now, health and safety.
Well, you just don't film in England.
Right.
There you go. I got the name. Kenneth Coley. He plays the fanatic. You'll see him later on. He played Admiral Piat in Star Wars. There was a lot of Star Wars crossover with this film. A lot of the crew, they were filming over in Elstree, which is close to
Pinewood.
Close to Pinewood, but also close to where they filmed this. It's Shepperton, all very close to each other. So the crew from the Star Wars film, when they weren't working there, would come over and work on this film.
Oh wow!
It was the same crew, and apparently they used to go and tell Terry Gilliam how fed up they were working for George Lucas,
No
saying
kidding,
he
huh?
doesn't know what he's doing. It's all over the place. It's a mess. And we're so happy we're working here because you know what you're doing, Terry. So, but in the end, everybody knows about Star Wars, but not a lot of
Right.
people know about this film. So the proof's in the pudding, isn't it, really? So
Oh, now he's in a room with. Oh, now we get our full frontal.
so like, oh, you're way ahead of me. I've just got a bit where he's climbed all the way up the tower and there's nothing there. So he's come back down. And he's just about to go into the princess's bedchamber.
Booty.
So I'm at 58 minutes. And there we go. There's the scene. Now, he did this scene as well with, whoops, Daisy, with Baron von Munchausen, didn't he? With Uma Thurman and her scene.
Mm-hmm.
Full frontal.
When I love the
Water.
absurdity
Blue
of it,
dolphin. Blue dolphin. Blue dolphin.
Yeah. The immediate response was, well, you have to be a prince dressed as a peasant.
You're right.
Now, apparently, Michael Palin wasn't bothered about the retakes they had to do for this scene.
Well, that's like Highlander, where Panzer talks about they had to redo the love scene multiple times between.
Yeah.
You know, the actors weren't exactly opposed to it.
Yeah. When she says to him, "Do you find me beautiful?" and he goes, "Oh yes, thank you." It's just she's been pining away for her fairy tales to come true, and the most boring man ever comes through the door.
Right.
And
He's
then
not
the
a boring man. He's a Cooper's apprentice.
and the joke
He can
being
ring a
that the
bell
real
with the
hero,
best of
the real hero, is about to come through the window. Can you see the knight? My love. Now that's straight out of Monty Python. That happening in the background.
Oh, I got behind you again.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I haven't seen the guy come through the window yet, but I would like to point, like, only Michael Palin could deliver some of these lines, just because of the timing and the. It's just like when you watch A Fish Called Wanda. You know, like only Palin could do that. Oh yeah, here's the first hand reaching over the sill.
Yeah, he just fell off the window.
Here's King Arthur coming to rescue his maid, and then there you go. Bye.
And you know what makes it even better? It's the sill actually comes apart, so it's falling back on earlier when the East Tower falls down. That the whole building is crumbling.
So it's the fact that, you know, it's not a fantasy fairy tale world, really. It's the real world where shit happens.
And yes, and she is completely oblivious to it, having been raised in basically the tower.
Right, total seclusion, no exposure to how things actually work in reality.
Yeah.
Is it Terry Jones in drag? I can't tell.
Oh yeah, there's a famous like sitcom comedy actor who's playing one of the nuns.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say some of the best Monty Python skits are the ones where Terry Jones is in drag.
Yeah, this is the guy you're about to see. It's funny because she chooses one of the nuns at random so that he can wear her habit, and it turns out to be a bloke who's basically just hiding there, pretending to be a nun.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm starting to vaguely remember some stuff. Doesn't he like end up like they can't determine if it's like he's Satan dressed as a nun or something?
Yeah, that's to come soon. Yeah, yep. Gordon Kay's sister Jessica. Right, and he thinks, hang on a minute. It's like the look says everything. Like don't say anything. Just do us a favor, mate. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
And then, there's the potato.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because she's just as nuts as him,
All right, slow this thing down again. This is annoying. If you're gonna bootleg a movie on YouTube, at least do decent quality, you bastards. This is a crime.
Just to show how cheap Carl and I are, we didn't exactly run out and try to order this thing. we just found a link and went, that'll work.
Well, I got one for $5, a DVD for $5. Okay, that's cheaper than a Big Mac.
Well, to be fair, we only had like 2 days notice, right? So
yeah. I've got Prime.
I've got Prime too. But
I thought you could have watched it streamed, but apparently you can't. It's
all right. This is all right. I'm just gonna have to go back and get it because this looks pretty goddamn funny. I just can't tell what the hell is going on.
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say that I don't own this, and I really should.
Michael Palin, the way, because they all were great at playing women. The way he moves around like nervously. And this is a bit where he tries to get past the captain of the guard, and the guard's like drunk. And no matter which way he goes, it's like it's gonna get caught. And then of course the captain of the guards then tries to feed the pony. And he gets more than he bargained for.
Surprise! I'm gonna give our copy here all this a thumbs down. This is terrible. I'm gonna be the fifth thumbs down.
I think I might have beat you to it, brother.
Oh, you a pretty one.
So in the horribly digitized version that we were watching, how historically accurate are those helmets?
They are accurate. That's like a pot helmet. Pretty common.
Like a pounded sheet of metal then over a form?
Well, they would have done it a number of ways. Pound a sheet of metal over a form, or they would have done like the famous Spangen helm that we keep talking about. You'd have 4 pieces and you rivet it together with strips of steel. That's actually kind of common for the 1200s, 13th century or so.
You've just seen the group of fanatics. It's the devil! No, it's a nun in the guise of a devil! No, it's the devil in the guise of a nun! Let's get him!
This is kind of reminiscent of the crack Judea Suicide Squad. That was Life of Brian, wasn't it?
Yeah, now we've got to the trebuchet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, now I have to own a copy. There's
we have to own a copy.
Jabberwocky, 1977. Terry Gilliam's lost hit, starring a trebuchet.
Now you're about to see Ken Coley come into his own, right? Apparently, Ken Coley, the actor, had a really, really bad stutter, but when he went into character as a part, he could just do anything, lengthy soliloquies and everything. It was that kind of strange thing.
And in a terrible twist of fate, the only roles he lost out on were those where the character needed a stutter.
Apology accepted, Admiral Piet. So you actually had the guy who played Admiral Piet and the guy who played Darth Vader in this movie.
Wow, that's a little foreshadowing right there.
And going back to Dragon Slayer, we had Ian McDermott. So
yeah. Yeah, you've got to buy a copy.
Just because to show you how small an island Britain is.
Either that or how few people in Britain can act. One of the two, right?
One of the two.
Now the crazy fanatics are angry, and they're all arguing about who gets to go in the catapult and die in the most painful death possible.
True.
Oh, I want to die that way. Because it's all about holiness through, fiery death.
The mortification of the flesh.
That's it. Here comes the obvious dummy that just makes it over the wall. Apparently, they had to do this 3 or 4 times because it just kept splatting into the wall.
Which actually might have been funnier.
Yeah. Right, morning time. And This is where we get more jousting coming up in a minute.
Still trying to choose that champion, huh?
And in the end, they run out of knights, so they have to change the method of selection.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point, Aldous. This is a flawed method from the beginning.
Right, but I think that's kind of intentional, right? It's the irony of the method, and also it fits with kind of earlier, like you got the merchants in the church that's like, oh, it's not all bad. Coffers are full.
Yeah, but that just goes back to the kind of iconoclastic nature of the guys who are the Monty Python crew, the Pythons.
Right.
Very, for the time, pretty iconoclastic left wingers.
Right. So Dennis has just got his potato back.
I'm impressed with the costumes, though. I mean, they're all from different time periods and everything, but they're all authentic for the time periods that they're supposed to be.
Yeah, apparently everything is really authentic.
Would the ornamentation be that significant?
What's that?
The ornamentation on the top of the helmet says they're jousting. I mean, you've got like 18 to 24 inch flat like wings and
that would have. So you would have had separate helmets for jousting and for war. You had separate armors for those as well, because they do different things, right? So a jousting rig of armor would basically be a little bit more heavy on your left side with additional plates there to protect you, because that's where you're going to get struck by your opponent's lance. And they oftentimes did have those huge crests on them, particularly in France, England, and Germany. And so part of your coat of arms was a crest that would be included with it, and you just typically wear that, and it'd be in your colors, and it'd be whatever your family's spirit animal is or whatnot.
Yeah, all these crests are really authentic. They did their research. Gilliam really put a lot of research into this. The armor's begged, borrowed, and stolen from other productions that were happening. David Hemming's Alfred the Great, which was another movie done. They borrowed all the armor from that movie, apparently. And this scene here with the king, Passeldue, and the princess, Gilliam's just pushing it as far as he can, because they end up completely soaked in blood at the end. He's just pushing the thing as well. He couldn't. There'd be too many people offended if you do this. Can you actually do satire anymore? I don't think so. But
yeah, speaking to Aldis's point about the crests, the time period we're talking there is probably the mid 1300s to the late 1400s or so. So it's not a big time period in the Middle Ages that would have been done, but it was for a time period used. And it might have been used later in like pageants and things like that in the Tudor era, but that's when it started dying out, really.
Yeah, absolutely. The
night after night dies, and they're clapping like, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
we lost another good man."
Look at the state of them now, though. You notice how the light is fading as well. You can hardly see them,
right?
Because it was such a tight production. They just had to go for it. And at this stage, Terry and the rest of them are holding up stage lights, and there's hardly any light left, and they're doing this whole thing in one take, because they couldn't afford to do any of it. They had hardly any money to do this film. 48, 49, 50, coming, ready or not.
What speed am I at here?
Hide and seek.
I'm still at 0.75.
Yeah, so am I. And I just got to what you were talking about.
1 hour 11, and the Knights are doing the hide and seek. There's a different method.
Going up to normal again. Yeah, now they're just running around looking for each other amongst the tents. Yeah, talking to your point earlier, they're sitting there clapping while their warrior elite is being destroyed, man by man. That's funny stuff.
That's the joke. They're playing hide and seek. They found a champion. Where is he? Oh, they haven't found him yet. It's hide and seek.
Right.
All right, so I'm through all the Canadian swill that I had to drink.
Right.
Now I've got
Hey, you hoser.
Yeah. So I took the last beer and drank it, and now I'm on to the good stuff. So
okay.
So I've got a Bacher German style lager.
Oh, very nice.
And, I've got some Deschutes Twilight Summer Ale.
Oh, very nice. Well, I'm just finishing up a Franziskaner Weiss beer, and then I'll be on to the Bacchus Krieken beer. Aus Cerise.
I got to get Mrs. Hungus to bring me a beer.
So the arms and armor here, the squires rummaging around. This is all authentic stuff for the period. We're imagining this is happening in the 15th century, aren't we? Really?
It's authentic for different periods.
Yeah.
So I'm at an hour 14. Dennis is talking to the squire. There's a halberd there.
Yeah, I'm
just up against the main tent pole. Is that's an accurate halberd, isn't it?
Let me go back because I'm a little bit ahead. That is it's a halberd.
I'm just at the bit where the squire's having a way with the innkeeper's wife.
Okay, I'll go back to that in a sec. But the halberd, that's accurate. That's a late 16th century, early 17th century halberd.
That's the king and his nappy.
King and his nappy. I got to catch up again. They were just fighting. Yeah, his wife.
There's the all-night vigil call. The night is falling asleep because it's hard to stay up all night unless you're on Carl's snipe stream.
Yeah, you did it last night. Go back and listen to that travesty, everybody.
It was a lot more entertaining than the auction. So the innkeeper just paid his way out of jail.
What is going on here? I can't tell. It's so pixelated. I can't even tell what's going on.
Oh, you would really enjoy it if you had this in full quality. It's such a beautifully photographed movie. So the innkeeper's got back, and the innkeeper's wife is soothing.
Oh, he's hiding under the bed or something. That's what's going on.
Now this is the bit where, when this happened, the audience who watched the pre-screenings laughed and groaned with shock at the same time when you see what happens. It was like, ha ha ha, and then, ooh! At the same time.
Here come the knights.
Oh, you're ahead of me again, Cole.
I'm not even going to keep track anymore. We've got 20 minutes left.
Yeah, you're about 5 minutes ahead of me. Here we go. Bed scene. Bang. Bed's been crushed. Blood trickling out the bottom of the bed.
In all this entire time, nothing has happened.
That's it.
Yeah,
have you noticed how the salmon knight, right? What is that really on his head? Oh, what Dabney's cut both feet off now. What Dabney, the eternal optimist. Yeah, come on, my son. So the idea is that it's actually a red herring, right?
Oh,
you get it?
Yeah,
the salmon on his head. The whole thing is a red herring.
That's funny.
So I don't know whether many people pick up on that one, but I didn't until I looked into it. As the war dogs. Crying havoc.
They're outside and they're making that kind of noise. Welcome to my life. The little slice of home right there.
Now, we're at the final scene of the film where it actually happens, where we actually have them going after the monster. So 3/4 of the movie, exposition. And it's only the last 20 minutes where they're actually going after the monster.
Those monks with swords.
Again,
I'm really confused as to what the hell's going on.
I'm still at the bit where the King Bruno's talking. Right, the bishop's turning up now with his
heavily armed Benedictine monk.
Yeah, entourage of Jesuit swordsmen, bodyguard. Get out of it! Come on, get out of it, you bloody peasant! There's the bishop with his Dagon hat.
His mitre.
Yes.
Well, we're quickly approaching. I did do a little bit of research this week. I was not completely lax in my preparation. So, however, we actually have to see the monster before I can add anything about the film.
Okay. It's brilliant. It's just and Maxwell's reaction is like, is that it? And he looks at him and was to go, huh? All right.
Now he's riding out.
Is this actually the narration? Thought he stood the Jabberwock with eye of flame, came whiffling through the tuggly wood and burbled. Music.
That, yeah. The poem by Lewis
so they
Carroll.
are actually reading the poem? Again, my prep was terrible for this. So they actually read Carroll's poem as the narration sequence?
You get a little bit of it at the start, and then you get a bit at this point here where the little child's left in front of the with the sort of Punch and Judy man there.
Yeah.
By the tum-tum tree.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just a little ahead of you. There's a really this actually, the cinematography on this is actually
this is Gilliam's first really good departure from.
Look at that the shot of the knight as he's riding away into the sun. Look at that.
Well, and
how
then
cool.
Wait, you're like 30 seconds away from a great shot where he crests a hill. And there's a little bit of a fog. Well, it's either a fog or pixelization on my screen, but it's a really good shot.
I think you're about 2 minutes. He's just been given the lance by Michael Palin here. And
where he crests that hill. Oh,
yeah.
I wish I'd got the book sheet copy now. I'm out of sync with you.
Don't worry about it, man.
Right, yeah, they were really lucky on the day with the light coming through the trees like that.
Who are these people that are running around?
These are bandits and attacking the Griselda. It's Mr. Fishfinger's family.
Setting a guy on fire as he's laying on the ground with a
he's trying to use quotes. There's Griselda. Griselda. You're about a minute ahead of me, I think.
It's just bedlam and chaos as his bandits run amok.
Have you seen the bloke with the Smurf hat? That's the best.
It's just start beating Michael Palin up.
This is just like taking the mick out of like how unwieldy the knights are. He's just so slow and heavy. He can't fight close quarters when he's on his sword with a lance. He's just sitting there doing nothing.
That's where the BS of this movie rolls in, because there's any number of things he could be doing right now. This is inaccurate. He'd be able to jump up right now.
That didn't really work. The joke where he collapses on the bandit chief and like the bandit chief was like a rubber doll.
Oh, I didn't see that because we're so pixelated. I can't even tell what's happening.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because full plate mail, actually, you had almost more mobility than if you had a full chainmail Cove on, didn't you?
Of course, because the armor is making it to your body, to your measurements, so it's close fitting, and everything moves exactly how your body moves, and so you could be able, in some circumstances, be able to swim in it.
Well, you're going to have to tell Terry Gilliam about that.
And that knight right there, if he was any worth his salt, he would have had his sword out and just hacking fools away. Or dismounted. And just,
Mr. Fishfinger is just, you almost cut my arm off, because they're the worst family ever. They're like, shall I say trailer trash?
yes.
They're just scum, this family.
They'd be well known in a Walmart anywhere in the United States today.
Get me those fries over there.
Hey, Carl, if you would, if you can, check your DMs, brother.
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
So this is a bit where they're trying to make friends with the knight, because they're social climbers, these people. they're determined to get somewhere in life.
Well, now you could get somewhere in life, and this is like or Carl was saying, like 12th, 13th century, by befriending a knight and becoming a squire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, typically if you were a squire, though, you'd be from another noble family. You'd be like a second son or a first son. You'd do at the age of 7, you do your primary education with another family. Not only did that help you get connections for later in life when you were taking over your father's position as the earl or the baron or whatever, but also it kind of allowed you to see the world a little bit more and get more experience. And often you would develop friendships with some of the other boys that were there at the castle with you under the fostership of whatever lord you're staying with. So that would be the most common way to be a squire. But I suppose it could have happened that there are accounts of people being just peasants being knighted on the battlefield for courage or things like that.
Right, battlefield. If Richard Sharpe could get a commission.
What's that?
Richard Sharpe. It's
but
Bernard Cornwall.
Yeah, that's kind of like the more modern equivalent would be a field commission in the British Army. But this is, remember, before the British Army existed. So it was within the power of any man who was knighted to be able to knight another person. But the problem with that is you had to have an income to maintain that lifestyle. So a lot of people would actually reject being knighted because of the cost involved of doing it. It could be ruinous.
I've just gotten to the bit where the merchants are having a secret meeting to put a stop to the death of the monster, because that's bad for business. That's a genuinely good comedy joke. Did you see that there? They've got a guy in a newt.
He's got a chain around his neck.
Yeah, so it goes, somebody at the door, dear.
Oh, someone's at the door.
Yeah.
That's a proper, how shall I say? That's a proper Roadrunner comic joke.
Gentlemen, I missed Movie Night Live.
Yeah.
And here comes the Dark Knight, also played by David Prowse. There we go.
Yeah, my screen's essentially black, so
Yeah,
I see a couple of candles on the table.
Let's put it this way: there's better resolution playing Minecraft than there is on this film we're watching.
Oh man! Up he goes, the Dark Knight, Black Knight.
Yeah, the Black Knight's just leaving the little postern gate.
Now we're almost at the end of the movie now.
Oh wow, that's a good shot.
Now this is why it's bullshit though, because he's wearing his jousting armor, not his war armor. He wouldn't wear that style helmet when you're going to war.
Well, alternatively, it could provoke a sense of arrogance that he's going to wear his jousting armor. He's wearing his parade dress out. Mm-hmm. He's not anticipating a fight. Now they're walking by smoldering ruins right now.
Yeah, this is a village which has been destroyed by the monster. Now you're going to come to a quarry. Oh, a gigantic shit.
I love the scene of the squire too, carrying the lance and the giant shield, struggling. He's fully encumbered with all this shit that he's got to lug around.
Right. Yeah.
This scene here, you wouldn't get this these days. This is filmmaking on the edge. You could not do this now. The quarry scene in Wales, basically, they are real skeletons. They scoured the whole of Wales, all of the abattoirs, to get whole skeletons of animals with bits of meat still left on them, and it's incredibly difficult to do because abattoirs, you chop them up. So these are all real, and every day that they were shooting, there was a few days they shot, it just got worse and worse, the smell, because it's just the stuff was rotting. And
just think how better the acting would be when you don't have to really pretend to be disgusted.
It's no way.
This shot here, you've got Dennis walking through, and he's looking left, he's looking right, and you've got rocks falling on the cliffs. That's very Star Wars-esque when they're going through the canyons with the Jawas.
Yeah, exactly, because they were filming Star Wars about 30 miles away at this point.
This as a Western connection, though, too, because that's almost like how in a Western film, when you see like the Apaches on the ridgeline as they're riding down, and you're like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do?
And the smoke is burning tires. You couldn't do now. They just got a load of tires and burnt them.
So we've got a series of knights that are up on the crest.
So
this is a good shot. Lots of silhouette shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the Black Knight with the bandits helping him. And this is the battle between the Black Knight and the Salmon Knight. And you're about to see something that you probably saw in Holy Grail, when the knight gets arms chopped off and everything. But this is far more gory. Watch this. If you can see it, that is.
Well, right now, Palin is struggling to give the knight what he wants. He's very confused.
Bang! Did you see that?
Yeah. Split him right in half.
Apparently,
the thing is, the Black Knight was at such a disadvantage with the reach. But it's all right for the story. What?
He just broke open like an Easter egg, didn't he? Really?
Yeah, he did.
That's Palin falling over like a 2-day-old corpse of a real animal.
Some of the shots of the Black Knight are very like Frank Frazetta, almost, with the horns and the helmet.
Yeah.
And the axe.
Yeah, it's man, some of those silhouette shots are real striking. Especially there, he's riding through the smoke. It's just very cool. Oh yeah, there's the skeleton of a cow.
Yeah. Now I'm at the bit where Michael Palin's grabbed a shield, or Dennis, and they're all just attacking him.
Dennis just put on the armor and took the Salmon Knight sword.
I'm not at that yet.
We get the bandits. I've got the bandits running into a pixelated Dennis.
Now, if you've noticed that
when picks up the shield, is that a correct shield? It almost looks like Roman, like Imperial Roman with the oval.
It's not. It's not correct at all.
When you get the DVD, watch out for a bit when the Dark Knight, the Black Knight, falls off onto the ground. The camera truck is actually in the background, but your brain just doesn't see it because it's not expecting to see that, but it's in the shot. He's climbing up the hill. This is speeded up, and it just doesn't work. And apparently, it was really scary. Terry Gilliam, I heard mentioned that, when you look through those helmets, through those visors, and you can hardly see anything. Apparently, it's quite a disturbing thing because you've got no peripheral vision or anything.
Well, that's because he's wearing a jousting helmet. That's the whole point.
Ah, right.
That's why I'm like, why would you wear that helmet when you expect to actually fight? They call that frog mouth helmet, and it's obviously by the shape. And so with your head erect, you couldn't see anything out of it because the where the slit is at on it.
Right.
And so you have to lean down the reason you use it for jousting is because you naturally lean down a little bit when you're jousting. Oh, here comes the monster.
So you only need it for that one purpose. Yeah.
Really good masking shots too, as he's looking through the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Shows you the limited visibility.
Right.
The confusion. It's really, really well done. For a neophyte director, he's doing a really good job with framing the shot and presenting the scene.
And finally, we've come to the monster. Finally, in the last 10 minutes of the movie, 9 minutes, which is what you want to see, don't you? You don't want to reveal it till right at the end.
So the monster is your classic rubber suit Godzilla monster. Mm-hmm. However, it's they did some things that are a little different that add to the imposing nature and the unnatural motion of the monster. The actor is actually facing backwards, and that's why the legs have a bird-like quality. Is he's facing the opposite direction of the head in the suit, walking backwards and forwards, and so you get the bent knee effect. And the suit was designed by Valerie Carlton, who she did a lot of work with Monty Python, but she also did work in The Legend of Tarzan, Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. She's a real professional. But there are a few scenes where you can actually see the wires because the guy's facing backwards, so the head and the neck is all done by wires, and you can see the wires controlling the motion of the monster.
Yeah, they just didn't have the money, did they, to mask the wires? They couldn't do that then, could they?
No, it's still very well done, though. I mean, I
love the green blood as well. Isn't it? Was it true that the designer or the person who was going to make it had a nervous breakdown, and they had to Gilliam and somebody else had to. I think it was the person who was actually going to make the suit.
I know they went through like 3 or 4 different actors inside the suit based off the little bit of reading I did on it because the suit was exceptionally hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you look at as you see the monster with as its legs are moving, it's just a guy's knees. If you look at it, you can see it, but it's just a guy walking backwards, and it gives you that bent knee bird-like effect.
Now, before special effects and CGI, this is 1977, I think. So this is pretty impressive for its day. I mean, you look at it now, and it's not realistic, but there's some of it is still quite good for the day, Now, apparently, when it falls over, that was actually a trip. It wasn't planned, but they left it in because it was a real trip. It looks really good.
Pete, I'm going to actually do a screenshot at a couple of these sequences just so you can see the quality that we're looking at.
There's the Dark Knight dummy being thrown over the cliff by the monster. Yeah. Gotcha. It's the gotcha moment. And now here we go. Oh! Straight through the eye. There's that horrible pea soup coming out. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock?
Yeah.
The monster's dead! Or if you're watching the German version, the monster's Todd.
Town now getting congratulated where I'm at. Here comes the gang.
And for anybody who doesn't know, the music at the end here is from Lieutenant Kijé by Prokofiev. Because that was another thing.
Prokofiev come up somewhere else recently in our discussions?
Not at all.
Yeah, it was Peter and the Wolf.
That's it.
My discussion with Mike the other night.
Yeah, it was in your interview with Mike Angerhauser, who has the Black Forest on Indiegogo.
That's Russian, though, isn't it?
Yep. And this is the guy who you never see this, but he's got alopecia, which is why he has a head water bottle. But he refused. There was a couple of scenes he refused to do. Like there was a scene where he was going to scratch his arse and pick his nose with the same hand, and he refused to do it. So there's loads of stuff that had to cut out the movie. So you've got Dennis, who doesn't want to be a hero, but he's had the hero role thrust upon him. So the hero's journey hooks.
Yes.
What does this film do with the hero's journey?
Well, the hero's journey it's the framework, right? And you can, like we saw with Highlander, like you saw with Conan, you can adjust it and frame it however you want. And I mean, granted, I've been watching a pixelated copy of this with hardly any subtitles, let alone dialogue. But it is almost like his acceptance of the quest and his role is the end. it occurs right before his return. So they've juxtaposed things a little bit for the comedic nature of it. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to getting a copy of this.
Here comes the king. King Bruno the Questionable literally looks like a huge bundle of old clothes now. He's getting bigger and bigger. He's got a tiny little head sticking out of the top.
Check your DMs and check out the photos that Huck sent you.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that gives you an idea of what we've been looking at.
Oh, what on earth? Oh.
I will say this, though. The longer you watch, the actual less detail you can pick out.
Mm-hmm.
What a shame, because it's such a good film.
There's a huge plus side to this, though, Hux, because it looked pretty damn interesting through this pixelated crap. So on rewatching on a real Blu-ray or something is going to be awesome.
Now he's got the standard royal wedding. Now it's basically within like and Gilliam did this deliberately. Within the last 2 minutes of the movie, he's married, off he goes, and everything. It's like fast forward.
Yeah,
it's like, hang on, he's going. What? 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 Griselda!
I love the halberd.
And Griselda's a nun now. So, and there you go.
There you go.
The mediocre man with mediocre dreams has had heroism thrust upon him.
And he didn't even have to invert a firkin.
Yep.
Off into the sunset they go.
Off into a Terry Gilliam sunset, indeed.
Oh, man. You know, guys, I loved this. This was great. It was great just to have a fun one, and not that I probably take some of these too seriously, but this was a fun watch, just a laugh, a lark.
Yeah, I want to go back and watch it on a legit copy next time.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Yeah.
Be funny. But it was also fun trying to interpret what the hell we were trying to see on the script.
Like a moving Rorschach test.
Yeah, no kidding.
And the fact that it just basically speeded up and slowed down randomly. So at no point were we synced at all.
Exactly.
So there is apparently, wow, there is a Criterion Collection copy now. I'm gonna have to get that.
Nice.
Yeah. It has the 2001 commentary track with Gilliam and Palin, a new documentary on the making of the film, an interview with the previously mentioned Valerie Charlton, who designed the creature, and a 1998 interview with cinematographer Terry Bedford. Wow, that's worth it alone, because this movie was filmed very well. Even if I'm engaged enough watching a digitized Minecraft version that I want to buy it, that's good cinematography.
Yeah. Well, that was. I mean, the one I bought is the copy I bought was available on Amazon for £3, which is about $5. It's not the Criterion one, but it has the commentary on. But that was another point. The cameraman Bedford, who was an apprentice of Ridley Scott, did all of the cinematography shots that which really capture the sort of, the feel of Bruegel and Hieronymus Bosch and everything. As a film, it really, because Gilliam's one of his best talents is capturing the essence of the feeling of a mood that he wants to convey, and it's just one of the most atmospheric, funny medieval comedies you'll watch. It's a classic. It's never going to go away, and you can't get better than Michael Palin, Terry Gilliam. So I would advise anybody to go out and buy a copy. 1977, the same day, same year, Star Wars, being filmed the same year, 30 miles away from where they were filming Star Wars.
Yeah, that was a fun ride, Pete.
Well, Pete, I'm going to have to get going, and I want to thank you for having me on again, and tune in a little bit later, about 15, 20 minutes or so, and we'll have some Centurions Roundtable on my channel. But Pete, I'm going to do my Pete with you guys now to go get that set up. All right? Thanks a lot for having me.
Take care.
Thanks, Carl. Well, I'll close it out with you, Pete. Let's talk about where we're headed here with Movie Watch Live. Where are we headed? What's the plan?
Yeah. So we're going to do this every 2 weeks, so to make it a bit more of a movable feast, so that it's not going to be every single Saturday. But what we're going to do over the next 2 more shows in this sort of mini trio is comedies. So next time we're going to be doing, I believe, we're going to go back a step, and we're going to do Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Beautiful.
Which I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. And then there's a third comedy fantasy that we're going to do. I won't say yet. We'll wait until we get closer to that, and then I'll announce it. After we've done that, we're then going to go on to do sets of 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a story and we're going to look at how it's changed 3 times over. So, for instance, there's several different ways we could go. For instance, before Star Wars, there was a Japanese film called The Hidden Fortress by a director called Akira Kurosawa, and that then was reinterpreted by George Lucas as Star Wars. And then we'll have to find a third film which we can pick out maybe as a Star Wars clone. But there's other ways we can do it. We can do, for instance, we can do Yojimbo, which again, by the Japanese director, then Fistful of Dollars, a spaghetti western, and then Last Man Standing. There's also the idea of doing Seven Samurai, again, Kurosawa, followed by a western, The Magnificent Seven, followed by Battle Beyond the Stars, which is a sci-fi. So there's a lot of choice we've got, but the idea is the same stories being repeated and changed into different genres, which is a really interesting idea. But for now, we're going to concentrate on comedy, and the next movie we'll do will be Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But thanks for watching. Thank you again to Carl. Thank you again to Aldous. And thank you to everybody who turned up in the chat. We had Johnny Five, Sierra Whiskey, Ralph the Geek, and Sierra's suggesting Flash Gordon at some stage. We definitely
Oh my God,
do that.
yes, Pete. We have to do
definitely
Flash
have to do that. Yeah.
Max von Snout. There's no option.
Yeah.
As
Gordon's
Ming
alive.
And then I can go into my, my thematic analogy that Ming looks just like Lennon, and there's something there.
Yeah.
Let me rant about that, Pete. Let me rant.
Definitely. That's got to happen sometime soon. Definitely. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody who watched tonight, and everybody who's going to watch on the recorded version, and tune in for the next episode. Thank you very much. Good night.